Here is why I absolutely hate reading, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Now that I got your attention, okay, I'm going to tell you the truth about reading. How much I read, why I don't read. I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? I'm going to tell you my reasoning behind it. So as you can see, I don't have a lot of books, but I have more books than probably the average individual. I would like to think many people don't read anymore. Maybe that's just something in the Western world. Anyways, we digress. So as you can see, I've got a few books here, okay? Obviously, I've got some books from Russell Brunson, from Alex Hormozi, from Joey Coleman. I've got books everywhere, okay? And I used to hate reading. Like, all through high school, middle school, elementary school, university, I hated reading. I never read. There was actually one famous time where I was in English class, and we had to read this book, and we had a test coming up on this book. And I hated reading so much. I despised reading that I didn't even get the book. The book was in the library. I didn't even get the book. I said, fuck this, I'm not reading. The day before the test, I went online, I looked up book summary, read it for maybe 3 minutes, said, fuck it, go into the test. 93%. Better than every single one of my friends who read the book. Anyways, the point of this story is I used to hate reading. There's only one good book I ever read in high school, and that was Trapped. It's a book called Trapped, and it's about a kid who gets trapped inside the school with a few other people when it's a big snowstorm outside. It's actually a really good book. But then I became an entrepreneur, like many of us, right? And I never liked reading, and I never liked the concept of reading, because how does reading directly make you money? Like, if I read this book, will I directly make more money? The answer is no. And so I was under the impression of it is not a high ROI thing to do because I don't make any money from it. And so therefore I was like, well, then why should I read? Like, if this doesn't make me money, why should I do it, right? Like, I was under the impression that if this thing doesn't directly make me money, what is the point of doing it? That's how I thought. And for most things, that's good, right? Like, for example, you shouldn't go fucking around making a new logo every single day. There's no point in that. But reading is one of those things where lately I've realized the importance of reading, because I don't read, okay? I don't read to like understand the book. I don't read just to read. I read to get ideas. I read and I get ideas on what I should do. Like, I've been reading this book and I've got new ideas for how to implement stuff in my offer. I've been reading this book and I have understood and thought of new ideas on what I can implement for my funnels, okay? I read this book and I got new ideas on my entire onboarding process, my entire onboarding, customer service, customer delivery process to make my clients happier, right? So it's like, I read for these reasons. I get ideas. When I read, I get ideas to make different YouTube videos. I get ideas for different offers, different funnels, different services, different deliverables. So I get so many ideas, and that's what allows me to be more creative and basically do more. So I don't read for the intent of reading or learning what the book has to say, although sometimes, like, I read this book with the intent of learning, but at the end of it, I don't just sit there and go, oh, good book. No. I'm actively note-taking. Like, when I read, I never read in my bed. I never, ever read in my bed. The only time I ever read is when I'm sitting down at my desk with a Notion tab out and a big notepad. That's when I read, because I read to take notes. I read to get ideas. I learn. I read to be inspired, to be creative, to be innovative. That's why I read. And so when I'm reading, I want to keep notes, and so I can't do it in my bed because I can't go to my computer every now and it's just stupid. So when I read, I'm reading, it's almost like a task, if you will. Like, it's not a fun thing for me, but I read to get ideas. And so my whole perception on books as a whole has changed of, like, I do need to read. However, let me preface this by saying, if you are a young person starting out your entrepreneurial journey, do not spend your time buying a bunch of books and reading them. Because what you need to do is just do the thing required in order to make more money and get more experience and learn more lessons, and then start reading. Because you need to do something in order for the reading to be applicable, right? Like, the reason why this book that I keep going back to is so applicable is because I was already servicing clients. And so when I read it, I got ideas of how I could service my clients better. When I read $100 million offers, I was already making offers. I was servicing my clients, making offers for them, making offers for myself. So therefore, $100 million offers was applicable because I was able to think of new ideas that I could implement into my own agency and into my clients' businesses from the book I read. But that wouldn't be possible if you didn't have clients, if you didn't have experiences, if you didn't have lessons learned. So I think there's a time and a place to really start reading. And when you read, I mean, you don't have to do this. This is just my philosophy, is read with the intention of getting ideas, with the intention of being innovative, with the intention of learning something new that you can apply, not just reading to read. Reading so you can do something. Like if you read a whole book, but your actions stay the same, you didn't learn anything from that book, because the definition of learning is a change in action based on exposure to new information. So if your actions don't change, you technically didn't learn anything. Right? And so in order for us to actually learn, right, we have to change our inputs. We have to change something we do, which is why I read to get ideas. That way, when I implement a new idea from this book, for example, I now have learned something and I've implemented it, and therefore my life has become better as a result of reading this book. Positive, right? And so there you go. That is my philosophy on books. I don't just read for enjoyment. I don't just read to read. I don't read to fuck around. I don't read for the book in and of itself. I read to get ideas to implement. Okay, and this has served me very well. Perhaps in the future this belief will change, but as of right now, this certain belief has served me well, and I've got a ton of new ideas that's allowed me to make tons of more money and help tons of more people. And so, yeah, do I recommend reading? Yes, in context. Depending on where you are, depending on your thought process and your reasoning behind reading, I highly recommend it. Reading is amazing. I still have plenty of books to go through, right? So yeah, but let me say this. If you're an entrepreneur, please just first thing, please go make some money. Please go service some clients. Please just start your business and have it going, then start reading. But let's say you've got a couple of clients, you're kind of racking your way up. Here are my favorite books that I have read. Number 1, Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. By far, number uno, without a doubt, hands down, I've come up with the most ideas and the most implementations that have made my life better and my clients' lives better as a result of reading this book. So number 1, Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. Number 2, let's look on my shelf here together. Number 2 is probably going to have to be, this is tough, there's a lot of good books. Probably $100 Million Offers. It's a classic, it's a staple, it's a great book. Number 3 is probably Cashvertising, which I don't actually have here. That was one of Dylan's books I read. And then there's really a lot of good books, a lot of good books that you could read that I have read. But I'd have to say, if I were to go with another one, it would probably be The Linchpin. Take that back. Expert Secrets. Expert Secrets. That's my last one that I'm going to give to you guys. Expert Secrets is probably the last book I would put in that ranking. So that is why I hate clickbait reading and my philosophy on it. I hope that this serves you well. I think this is like day 20 or 19 of posting every single day. And catch you tomorrow.